We use acronyms everywhere. Each field has its own world of acronyms. But how many fields use MAD as an acronym? Well, statisticians do. They are really mad guys. Of course, MAD does not really mean mad in statistics. It stands for median absolute deviation. And its sole motivation is to create a more robust version of variance. Let's understand this step by step. When we created variance, we started with a measure of central tendency. We had chosen the mean. Now, mean is known to suffer from lack of robustness. Median is a more robust alternative, so why not start with the median instead? Next, we had computed the deviation of each point from the center. As we have already mentioned, the sign does not matter, so earlier we had squared the deviations. That did get rid of the sign but also contributed to its lack of robustness. If some xi is far away, then its deviation from the center is anyway somewhat large. And if you square that deviation, then it becomes way larger, leading to lack of robustness. So here we do not want to square, but still want to get rid of the sign. How? Simple, we just drop the sign. In other words, we take the absolute values. Finally, earlier we had taken mean of all these square deviations or absolute deviations in our case. Here we shall take the median of these absolute deviations. Now you can also see why it is called median absolute deviation. There is some method in the madness after all. Computing median by hand is never fun because it requires you to sort the values. But just to remember the definition, let us toil through a numerical example by hand. We are going to learn computation of MAD by hand. Let's work with this toy dataset. The values are 3, 5, 4, 5, 1, 7. So 5 has been repeated twice. The first step is to compute the median. Now if I look at these, there are 5 values. So if I just show them along a number line, it will be first 1, then it will be 3, then it is 4, then 5 and 5 again, and then I get 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I have an even number of values, so I will take the two central most values, that will be 4 and 5. There are two 5s of course, and I will be taking the point which is middle, so it is 4.5. So here median will be 4.5. So the next step is to add another column, which is xi minus this median. So it will be 3 minus 4.5. 3 minus 4.5, that is minus 1.5. Similarly, the next value is 5 minus 4.5, that is 0.5. And here are all the other values. So I have computed the deviation of each xi from the median, that is the D part. Now I have to get into the A part, that is we have to take absolute values of these differences. So I will be taking the absolute value and I will just write it here itself. I will ignore the sign. Similarly here the absolute value, since it is already positive, it remains itself. Here I would remove the sign, already positive, remove the sign. So these are all my absolute deviations from the median. So I have done this, I have done this. Now I have to take median of these values. So again, there are 6 values, so I will be showing them in the number line or one after another. The smallest happens to be 0.5. The next smallest is again 0.5 because it occurs 1, 2, 3 times. 0.5, 0.5 once again. Then the value is 1.5. I really do not need to go any further because the value must be between the third and the fourth value. But anyway, let's do it all the way. 2.5 and finally 3.5. So the central most values are these, and I will be taking the value sitting exactly midway between these two, and that is 0.5 and 1.5. The central value is 1. So that will be the value of MAT. MAT will be equal to 1 for this data set. Now in this case, of course, I had even number of values. That is why I had to take the middle value of the two central most values. Had I had an odd number of values, in that case, I will just take the central most value. Well, that is basically how you compute MAD directly from the definition. Of course, I had to sort the things. That is something that is very easily done by a computer. But had there been something like 50 values, then sorting things just by looking at it is difficult. So computation of MAD by hand is never really fun. You would rarely do it by hand. Later, we shall learn how to do it using LibreOffice.